Navigating being a parent is already tumultuous enough, but being a mother to a teenager is completely a different ballgame. Are you just starting to see the changes in your child? Or are you going through their teenage years? Are you deep into the teenage years and deep into the deep ocean struggling to see the end of the waves? Well, if so, this episode is for you. Welcome aboard the podcast, A Woman's Spark with Shenik, a podcast to show women how powerful they are and remind them of the spark that they carry. The strength that gets us up every time we fall, a place to feel seen and understood when we don't fully have what it takes to get back up on a hard day. This podcast is to help you and all other women around heal and become the best version of themselves during the roller coaster of life. We're building a community of women who want to help one another and inspire each other to become stronger and more united as we were born to be. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing navigating being a mother to a teenager. From the reality of puberty to the need for independence of our children and socializing to hibernating and rediscovering themselves, teenagers are in a transformational process. Parenting teenagers can be challenging, of course, but research indicates that many parents and teens have positive relationships. For instance, a significant percentage of parents feel that they can communicate effectively with their teenagers and that their teens feel supported, except there's a little discrepancy that exists between what the parents think and the teen's perception. They don't often feel the same feeling as their parents, and they don't always believe the same things as their parents believe. So much to navigate through for any parent. It can almost feel like a constant whiplash. Navigating being a parent is already tumultuous enough, but being a parent and mother to a teenager is another ballgame. It takes nothing away from being a parent to a baby, a young child, or an adult, but parenting teenagers has a completely different set of rules. Today, we're going to talk to a mother who has experience with raising a teenager. We're going to talk to her about her experience and how she's coping with all the ups and downs. When we come back, we're going to welcome Kiana Shaw. Kiana is not just a mother, but also a public speaker. She's a life coach and is also the creator of the Facebook page, Mothers Raising Teen Daughters, with over 25,000 followers. Let's just say you're at the right place if you need some advice with your teenager. Let's take a short break and welcome her after this. Welcome back to the Women's Spark podcast with Shanik. Today, our guest knows a thing or two about raising teenagers and teenage daughters. In this first segment, Kiana is going to tell us her story and also talk about the hardship and the tough time of raising a teenager. Please welcome our spark of the day, Kiana Shaw. Hi, Kiana.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I've been following your page for a few years now. I think it's been on since 2016, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we hit 9 years recently. Yes.
So you have heard many stories of mothers raising teenagers, right?
Yes. Successful and failure stories, which is I think we could get into later.
Yeah. And how old is your daughter today?
Currently, she's 11.
Okay. And how old is your niece?
She is 23 now.
Okay. So you started your page when she was a teenager.
Yes.
Okay. So it was your why in the first place, right? To start the Facebook page is your niece. And
Well,
then
you
now
know what? It wasn't my niece. I was already mentoring young girls in local high schools. And what I found was that their parents were almost weaponizing me. It was like, I'm going to call Coach Kiana. I'm going to call Miss Kiana on you. And, it just kind of became a thing where I was like, I need a way for the parents to have a space where they can vent and understand that all of this stuff is normal. As bad as it is, as good as it is, it's all normal. And so the group was created as a way for those moms who were already in contact with me to understand that we're all on this journey, right? Even as the mentor, I'm on this journey with you. As teachers, we're on this journey with you. And it gave us an opportunity to just kind of chat and talk and really go, oh, this is normal. Oh, this is just regular kid stuff. And they just started inviting people, and the group grew from like those 5 to 10 moms to 26,000 members.
That it's a beautiful success, and that is probably your beautiful constructive part of raising your daughter and turning it into something constructive. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your journey with raising your niece as your teenage daughter?
So my brother was a single father, and so I was really just there to support. There would be days where, when she was younger, where I would like sneak her in. Like, again, my brother was a single dad, so we were making it happen. I would sneak her into my job and have a little palette for her under my desk where she could color and things like that. Like, it started with that kind of stuff. As she became a teenager, though, it was more of showing up to the school to make sure that, parent hours were done. It was more of, being a presence, because we wanted her to feel like, and her mom, was more active at this time, but we wanted her to feel her family unit, her family support. And also, we wanted to make sure that we were always establishing a connection between ourselves and the school. And so, in raising her and in mentoring young girls, there were a ton of incidents that, we would just be a part of. And when I'm mentoring a young girl, I show up for their games, I show up for, the spelling bee. It doesn't matter, like, we show up because that's what kids need. They need to know that they have a support group. They need to know that we'll show up for the good things and the bad, right? I don't let parents off the hook when they say, I don't have time, I don't have time. I don't let them off the hook, because we make time. If the teacher hits our kid, we get up there that day, right? So we
Yeah,
can do the same thing for
absolutely.
PTA meetings. We can do the same thing for anything that they're involved in. And so the journey of being there and being present for teenagers, it did start with my niece, but it was also all the young girls who were depending on me because maybe their parents could not take off of work, right? I had the flexibility of being able to get up there, to whatever school. Even now with my daughter, I figure it out. I make a way because of the flexibility of my schedule. I get to go, oh, all right, let me put this in. Like, even our meeting today is like after I drop my daughter off, right? Like, there's some things that are non-negotiable. And so I make sure that I can get her to school. I make sure I can pick her up. And when I can't, I count on my village, right? And I think that's part of the parenting thing. We try to do it all by ourselves.
Yeah,
And I get it. We can't mandate the village, but the goal is to be there and then bring our village in whenever we can to support them and make sure that they're safe.
absolutely. Um, it used to be that a village would raise the children, right?
Right.
Nowadays, it's a bit more singular and alone and independent, but it does take a village to
But you know
to,
what? I
to
think that it's like that because a lot of times we don't ask. We don't ask. We don't set
sure.
ourselves up where we have a village. There's this need to prove that we are super women and we can do it, and it's okay. But if we don't ask our village, and my village tells me this all the time because I'm not one to ask, outside of my mom, like, can you pick up Kayla because I'm running late or something like that. But if we don't get in the habit of saying, hey, this is where I need support, I need support with this particular thing, I need a tutor, like, and that's the thing, the village comes with all kind of skill sets. We have a tutor, right? My daughter's a year ahead and she's in honors classes. We have to have a tutor because things can get overwhelming sometimes, and I'm not a good person for the overwhelm. I'm not, but we also, things she wants to do, like she wants to take apart engines. I know nothing about that. So the village
Sure.
comes in
Other
with
people can
their skill.
help maybe with that, definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. She wanted to build websites, and so my brother and I have a software engineer that I can call on to say, and they're all in the village. So it's
Yeah,
always good to just reach out. This is what we need. Is anybody available? Somebody
I
comes all
understand.
the time, but we have to ask.
If you look back at
Mhm,
all the clients that you've had and the
mhm.
people you've spoken to, the stories you've heard, um, what were the main whiplashes that people or experiences that were rocky that parents came across or mothers came across that were a bit more of a barrier and harder to travel that you've had to help with? So what are the
Okay.
main issues at the start that you come
So,
across?
number one, I would say is navigating interdependence, right? Because our kids start, they need us, and parents are very used to being needed by their children. We kind of thrive on it in some cases, where it's like, okay, they're totally dependent. We have to feed them, we have to clothe them. We are the source of all things for our kids, and they get into this teenage realm, and we're no longer the source. They
Yep.
have their own brains, and a lot of parents are having a hard time navigating that part. It's even kind of a grief process sometimes where
It
they're like,
is.
but it's our baby, and we need them to need us. Our whole life has been, revolving around everything that they need, and now they don't even want us at the school. They don't even want us at the game. They don't want us to have any part. And so there's a grieving process, right? Most of us don't recognize it as that. Most of us don't see the anxiety in what we're dealing with our children growing up. That interdependence is that stage in between. So you have dependence where they need you for everything. You have independence where they don't need you for anything. That stage in the middle, because as they're transitioning from one stage to the other, interdependence is where they're like, I can pick out my own clothes, but we still have to tell them to pick them up off the floor, right?
One thing that comes to mind is I'm in the beginning stage. I have a 13-year-old and an 11-year-old.
Okay.
And if I think of my 13-year-old, is she needs her space. Right now, she just
Hmm.
wants to be with her friends. She wants to spend time with her friends. And mommy and daddy, she used to say to me, "Oh no, I'm never going to be the kid who says, 'Oh my God, you're so embarrassing, mom.'" But now I'm at the stage where, "Oh mom, you're embarrassing. Please stop dancing." but
Listen,
but I
I
get
am
these
I am
moments.
there.
And but she wants to be with her friends, but there are moments where she comes back home and just needs a hug from mommy. She just needs a hug from mommy and knows that she still has her place in the home, she still has her place in my heart, and that she can feel secure and safe. So that's the
Yes.
codependence, and it's letting go on both sides,
Yes.
feeling that it's
So in
showing
those
them that it's
moments,
okay.
yes, in those moments where she's going, I want to be with my friends, the goal as a parent should be to take advantage of that time. Okay, while you are with your friends, mommy's going to take that bath that I've been wanting to take for the last 3 years, right? With the candles
12
and
years.
the oils. It's a
Working
time for
out,
us.
walking, speaking to friends,
Exactly. And something
reconnecting with
as simple as that. Yes,
yeah,
reconnecting with
reconnecting
you. If you're
exactly.
married, reconnecting with your spouse, because our spouses
Yeah.
are completely neglected in the marriage process when there are kids involved, because it's like we have to prioritize the kids. Most spouses understand that, but it doesn't mean that they don't feel a little bit of resentment, a little
Yeah.
bit of aggravation, a little bit of abandonment, right? So there's all these things in this navigating interdependence that we have to be mindful of, because our kids are going to grow up and have their own families eventually. We cannot neglect our family, which is our
That's it.
spouse, right? I was telling my fiance, the team is us. Like the kids come through, and we will do everything, but the team is us.
That's it.
we have
That's
we
it. There's
have
no one
to stay
else.
connected, right? We
Yeah.
have to stay
Yeah.
connected. So what I'm finding is that parents are navigating the hurt of their kids growing up, right? They are also navigating, um like, not understanding that kids, it's like having a brand new lock, right? If you change your locks, right, and kids are locks that are constantly changing, you have to have a new set of keys, right? That, I get it. Everyone's
Wow.
like, "Oh my God, they're doing this and this," right? Because they're getting older. So now you have to have a new set of keys. That key could look like, um, adjusting your approach, right? Because that's a key. Because when they get to a certain point, think about how we feel as adults. We do not want anyone telling us how we feel,
Yeah.
right? If my significant other says, Oh, well, don't feel that way because that's like, don't tell me how to feel. Right?
I'm me, you're you. Let's you do you and I'll do me. But then also, yeah, exactly. I really like the analogy of the key because it's so
Yes,
true. The baby, the child, the teenager, the young adults, the adults. I don't have kids that are adults, but I
right.
can definitely see it's probably completely different just from
Yes,
going
and
from
the
baby,
approach
child,
is
and
different.
teenager.
The
Yeah.
approach is different when they are younger and you're telling them how something should go as to when they're older, when you know that they understand more, or when they're just being defiant. But you got to check your approach, not just her attitude or his attitude, right? You have
Yeah.
to prioritize your presence over whatever pressure that they're feeling. So creating a safe space or just reminders that, hey, we are safe here, this is a safe space. These are the keys that we need to just
Yeah.
adjust as our kids are getting older. um, a lot of times what we think is curiosity they see as criticism. Oh, why are
Yeah.
you doing your homework now? Well, why would you wait so late? And you're like, we have to adjust the keys, and because every lock is different, every kid is different, so every key has to be different.
And
The same key, right, the same
our
key for
perception may
my
not.
niece,
Yeah.
very different from my daughter,
Yeah,
very
my
different.
perception to what my daughter's perception towards the same conversation may be completely different.
And the reason why is because of experience.
Yeah.
We have experience that they have not had yet, because there's some experiences that only come with time and decisions and bad decisions, unfortunately. Right? So I can
Yeah.
give a perspective of relationships and why you should be friends with this person and not be worried about a relationship. But when you're 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you don't see that. What you see is, I have to have this person or they're going to be with someone else. I
That's
have to
it.
have this person in my space. Like, we have to be boyfriend and girlfriend. If I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend, mom, then like, they're going to go with a girl whose parents do allow her to have a boyfriend. And like, there's a
Yeah.
panic there. And as parents, we have to understand that. We have the perspective of, listen, this relationship is not going to last. You guys
Hmm.
are in the ninth grade. The likelihood that this is going to result in marriage and family and a happily ever after is like 3%, right?
Hmm.
If that,
Yeah.
it might be 0.3%. We have that perspective. Their hearts only have the right now.
Yeah.
They,
Absolutely.
so this is that navigating interdependence. We can guide them, right? That's the interdependence part. But their independence is gonna be, I'm either gonna hide this relationship from mom, or I'm gonna have to walk away. But
Yeah.
most of them don't walk away. They just go to hide.
And most
If
kids
we
like to
don't,
do the opposite of what the parents suggest to do. So at the end of the day, it's finding a balance between the trust and the openness
right?
and just letting them live their
No,
life.
no, 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 no. Right. So we can't go, no, 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 no. We have to go, okay. So here's the parameters. Like, when I was growing up, I was not allowed to talk to boys on the phone. My dad was a deputy. He did not tolerate me having any interactions with boys. Now, my brothers could talk to all the girls they want. I have a twin brother. Like, we had different entities. Okay, like, same party.
Yeah.
I got to be home at 11:30. But
Yeah.
as we navigate that, understanding that our kids they're going to want to have their own experiences. We cannot block them from all the experiences. Sometimes, like my daughter, relationship wise, my daughter, she's not allowed to have a boyfriend, but when you talk on the phone, you can talk on the phone to boys, but it has to be on speaker. That's the compromise, right?
Okay.
Because I have brothers and cousins and uncles and a dad. I know the guys will say things that they shouldn't. So as we navigate this, there's this side of, she gets out the shower one day and I see that she's been crying, and I'm like, what is it? Like, what's going on? And she's like, eventually she tells me about the boy, and now he likes her friend and all that, right? Now, this is
Oh.
in my heart, I'm going, well, no, in my brain, I'm going, this is why you're not supposed to have a relationship, right? But I can't say that because this is not the time. And so what I said was, mommy can hurt with you until you're not hurting. Like, we can sit here, we can watch TV, I can just hold you. And she was just like, I just want to be held. And all I could do in that moment was hurt with her, right? Be the empathy. But
Hmm.
there was a part of me that's like, this is why. And this, you know what I mean? And I wanted to go into the lecture, but this isn't the time.
No.
So the same way we expect our kids to navigate their own emotional whatever's, right, we have to do the same, because our
Yeah.
parenting mind says we got to control this. And that's not okay, because you got to have connection over control.
Absolutely. And I think that you've basically answered both of my questions, the one at the beginning or in the middle, because at the end of the day, it kind of, you said the key to the key is changing the key.
I have more on
So,
that side. Don't worry. I have more.
okay.
We'll stay on track.
No, but it's true because basically changing your approach every single time or every single stage of their teenage years
Hmm.
is going to be the key to finding the right way to, well, to their heart, to their head, and them finding their own way.
And that's the
Um,
hard part. That is the part that as parents we have to navigate, because we tend to go, this is the structure. This is what it's going to be. But that's not real life for
no,
our kids. So we have to be able to navigate and go, okay, this is what I want it to be, but this is what it is. Let me make the adjustments. I'm the
yeah,
adult.
yeah,
I'm the one who's supposed to take on the hard part. Let me make the adjustments so that I can navigate this with them and not have resentment, not have anger, not have distrust.
secrets,
Right.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Because our kids will do that.
and it's important for us adults to put ourselves in the shoes of our children
Hmm.
because where were we at 13? What did we do at 13? And
Listen,
it just puts
I
you
don't want
back.
to remember. I was a
But
mess.
my daughter last week asked me to take the metro with her friends to go downtown. And for me, it wasn't even a possibility. But her friend said, well, I've done it already several times. And my mom's a single parent and she's taught me how to do it and I'm safe. And I was like, a lot of anxiety here to say to my
Hmm.
daughter, okay, I want to give you the flexibility to do it because I want to trust you.
Right.
But man, am I finding this hard. So please respect my boundaries so that I can
Right.
trust you further. So it was
Right.
like, okay, text me when you get there. Text me when you reach the store. Text me when you leave the store. And she did. And that helped me
Yes.
trust her process. And
Yes.
she appreciated it and therefore was open enough to open herself up to me about other things. So it was
I
a
applaud you for that. I
thank you.
applaud you for
It's
that
so hard.
because exactly, because it's so hard. And you let her go anyway, right? You set the parameters about safety. For me, it's, I have a tracker, and that tracker stays in your pocket, right? And if you need me, if you're just like, hey, I'm not sure, you push that tracker, right? When you push it once, it texts me. If you push it twice, it calls me. So if there's anything going on, you hit that tracker. You keep your maps on your phone, so make sure it's charged before you leave. Like, there are parameters that I have set, and no matter where she's going to go, someone from the village has to be nearby. I
Yep.
don't care what if it's, someone has to be able to get there in 2 minutes flat. And a lot of times that's me just sitting somewhere, and I always have work to do, but I can have my laptop in the car, and I'm giving you your space, but I'm also watchful, because this world is not the same world I grew up in, where we could ride the bus alone. This is our world is different. And in a
Absolutely.
world where
Plus,
everyone wants to go viral, it's not just the kidnappers. Sometimes it's just the really mean people that
yeah.
are going to do things just to create a situation. I want to be nearby, but I have to give her that space, because if I don't know that she can handle herself, right? And this is something that I think parents have to be mindful of, because sometimes we have to point out to our kids, if you don't clean up at home, you're probably not going to clean up at your friend's house. If you want me to believe that you will do it, I need you to do it here first. If you're
Yeah.
gonna go out and be, at the mall with your friends, I don't mind that. I love it when you guys can hang out. I love when kids can be kids. But I need to know that your attitude is good at home, because I don't want you having a bad attitude with the security guard at school, at the mall, right? Authority is authority. And pointing out to our kids, this is how we navigate from this side to that side. That's hard. But you
Yeah.
did it. You were like, let me allow you to go. Here are my rules. She followed the rules. So now you know that you can trust her a little bit more along the way,
Yeah. And for the next time as well. And the next
which is
time
still going to
after
be
that.
hard. Just so you know, the
Oh,
next time
of
is going to
course.
be just as hard, if not harder, because now you're thinking subconsciously, even if it's not like at the forefront of your mind. Okay, she's had this little bit of freedom. So now she's like, okay, I can push the limits a little bit further. We
I've
know
tasted
that.
it. Yeah, they've tasted the freedom, so they want a little bit
Exactly.
more.
Exactly. And so if like that's the hard part. And we can talk about the tools to make sure that they stay in line, and that they're focused and that they're making integrity based decisions. But right now we're in the struggle.
Hmm.
We're in the
Exactly.
struggle, and it doesn't change just because our kids are A students. They're still going to make that decision. It doesn't
Yeah.
change just because they take grandma her dinner every night. It doesn't matter. They're even the best of us make
That's
really
it.
bad decisions
We
inside of us, right? Like we
we
can
rec
be the best person, and then we're having unprotected sex. Like it could be a million different things. Like just as parents, we make bad decisions. Our kids are going to do the same.
Absolutely. And they also have to live their own experiences to learn, because if we shelter them from everything, they won't learn. And then one day they'll be 18 and not know what to do out there on their own. And that creates a lot of other different problems like anxiety, depression, not
Yeah.
feeling like you're enough, not good self esteem. So it's
Yes.
important. Those anxiety you're causing yourself by letting go slowly is an
Yeah.
anxiety your child will not have
Yes.
in the
And that's why
future.
I applaud you, because now your daughter can come to you about something so simple as, Mom, so and so is having a hard time.
Hmm.
Mom, you're like that one thing opened up an opportunity for conversations. It
That's
opened
it.
up an opportunity for the conversations that you probably would really want to have every day, but she's only going to have them once a year. Now she can have them twice a year. Now she can have them quarterly. Now she can have them monthly. You understand what I'm saying? But it start.
Absolutely.
I didn't have that relationship with my mom where I wanted to share everything. Now I get on her nerves 3, 4 times a day. Right? She's just like, "Why are you calling? What do you
Yeah,
want? I just want to talk, Mom."
that's it. Kiana, wow. We're going to take a break in a minute, but I have one last question for you before we
Okay.
go on a break. When you see the parents, because you see the kids, but when you see the parents, what kind of emotion? Name me like two intense emotion you see when the parents come to you and they're overwhelmed or they don't know where to go with a situation, or just so people can relate to, oh my god, I'm feeling this right now. What are those emotions?
So overwhelmed, which you named.
Yeah, like name me a
Overwhelmed.
couple of things they say to you when they pick up the phone. Kiana.
Okay. So I'll get, oh my God, I can't take anymore. And I'm just like, what does that mean? Right? Because I'm just like,
Hmm.
you have their bag and they're on the side of the freeway, with their pack. They come up, like, what does that mean? So they're feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling anger, and they're feeling betrayal.
Betrayal, yes.
Yes.
Really
Because
true.
when you are raising kids, there's so much of like conversations that we have, and we see and we know all the things. When something happens and we're like, no, not my kid, and then it's like, oh, that was my kid. We feel that betrayal. There's an
Yeah.
embarrassment that comes with it, right? Because how did I not know? This is my kid, particularly parents who are finding out that their kids are using drugs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just like vapes are bad enough, but when you find out that your kid has dabbled in ecstasy or meth or something like that, it's a totally different level and layer of betrayal and embarrassment and grief and anger, and your own feelings, right, of anxiety, and your own feelings of even suicidal. Like I've had parents say, I really, like, I just need to kill myself, right? And we have to walk them back from that, because your kids are having a human experience that you don't like. It does not make them less lovable. It means that you
Oh,
have to increase that love to a level
yeah.
that you weren't prepared for.
There
And
still
now
is,
you're getting a crash course,
yeah,
right?
and they're still as worthy of your love as they were before,
But
maybe
that's
even
hard.
more. Yeah.
That's very hard when you feel betrayed by them, because we've had the drug talks, like we watched the after school specials. You know what I mean? When you
Yeah.
have all of that, and now they're like, yeah, but I still wanted to try the weed. I didn't know the weed was going to be laced with, cocaine or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Like, these are real life things happening in high schools. And
Hmm.
the nicer the high school, the better the drugs, right? Like, that's, that's a whole
Really?
nother.
Oh, I've not reached that point yet, but thank you for the heads up.
The better the
Wow.
drugs and the easier the access, right? Like,
Yeah.
we think of drug ridden schools, and like in my mind, I think of the movie Lean on Me, right? Where it's like this inner city school and there's all these bad things. When I'm working with schools, it doesn't matter. Like, there is no class. There's like, the richer the area, the better the drugs, the faster the kids can get them, the less likely parents are to be watching, because there's a safety feeling, right?
Yes.
There's a feeling of, oh my god, our kids are good, our kids would never. And one thing that we're discovering, starting in middle schools, right, because it's not even waiting until high school anymore, starting in middle schools, is that there is no day, there's no particular time, there's no, all of our kids are facing the same things. Social media has made it to where everyone is exposed across the board.
Okay. Okay. Kiana, thank you for this fountain of knowledge you're providing us today.
I
We're
hope
going
I'm
to take
not
a short.
scaring anybody. Don't kick me
No,
off.
no, you're not kicked off. We're going to come back and talk about some good stuff because I mean, teenagers
Yes.
do teach us a lot about
Yes.
us, about ourselves. So I really want to touch on that topic and give a little upbeat to our listeners as well because yes, they're going through the same thing. They can connect to what you're saying, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a way to see the positive in all of it. So when we come back, we're going to discuss about that. So we'll be right
Okay.
back.
All right.
Welcome back to the Woman Spark podcast with Shanik. We're here with Kiana Shaw, founder of the Facebook page Mothers Raising Teen Daughters, with over 25,000 followers of mothers raising teenagers, raising teenage daughters. And she's also a life coach. She helps a lot of the mothers and parents out there who are in need of some tips and solutions when they're struggling with the whiplashes. I like to call it the whiplashes, but the all the new stuff that comes in. And she mentioned keys earlier. So when you have a new key into your teenager's life and your own life, and you want to find the solution, she is the one that provides it. So thank you for being on board, Kiana.
Thank you.
Thank you. And as I mentioned earlier, we've talked about all the tough stuff and
Mhm.
how it can be hard to be around teenagers. But I have thought of a couple of questions that are quite that will bring something to the listeners, a little solace, a little smoothness to what they're living right now with their teenagers. And
I'm ready.
what are the most beautiful things parents or even your teenagers have taught you in a positive way?
Mm.
Because
Okay.
that's positive as well, right? So yeah, they
Yes.
do teach us on who we are. So what have they taught you?
So one thing that, from my girls and just working with teenagers in general, is I've learned to speak to the queen in her, not the teen in her, right? Because the
Mm,
teen has a lot of different nuances, but um, focusing on treating the young ladies like ladies, right? Even when they're acting wild, I speak to them in a very affirming way, right? Um, when they do something that is out of line, we have to correct it. But then it's, let's talk about who you are, right? I don't like the phrase "I am enough." Like, I'm like, there's a ton of different words that we can use instead of enough, because to me, enough just sounds like borderline, right? But
yeah.
um, I speak to the magnificence in them. You are magnificent. You are. wealthy, you are, inspiring. You like I'm speaking to the person that I want you to be in spite of our current circumstance, right? That is such a positive. That's something that I encourage parents to do, because when we speak to the queen in them and not the teen in them, they get to elevate mentally and emotionally. It keeps the
That,
conversation flowing. It keeps the
yeah.
conversation. And it reminds me I'm talking to a person, instead of like, I think a lot of times parents belittle the child, right? It's like, you're a child, I'm the adult. But when we speak to the queen in them, we're speaking to the person. We're
Yes.
speaking to who they are going to be at their best, not this bad moment.
So they feel more respected,
Absolutely,
probably,
they do.
if you speak to the
And it
queen in
keeps
them
us
as well.
respecting them. It keeps us
Yeah.
respecting them because, you know, the dynamic of the mother daughter relationship, or the parent child relationship in general, there's an authoritative dynamic, right? There's a submissive and there's an authoritative figure. And when we look at our children and we're thinking, just be submissive, just do what I say, it's not helpful to them. It's not. And I
Yeah.
know that parents, like, there's the gentle parenting, and then there's permissive parenting. They're okay. So there is an aspect of gentle parenting versus permissive parenting. Permissive parenting is just like whatever goes goes. Gentle parenting is lovingly correcting them, lovingly making sure that you are guiding them without the authoritative figure of this is what you better do, because what is good for one person is not good for another. We have to be
Nope.
mindful of the ebbs and flows of our relationships with our kids.
That's it. Has coaching other parents with their teenagers taught you respect or how to speak to your own daughter? How has it, what has it taught you to, when you're bringing it to your own
With my
daughters?
own daughter, it absolutely. So I get to practice on other kids, right? I get to practice on the
Yeah.
family, and then, but sometimes I'm practicing with my daughter, and I'm learning the hard way. That there is a level of respect that I have to maintain, and so it teaches on both sides, and I use what I learned on both sides, because I'm not perfect, right? None of
Mhm.
us are perfect as parents. And so I don't care if you're learning in traffic, right? Sometimes you'll see something happen and you're like, it wasn't necessary for her to flip her off, right? We learn that with our own kids. Like, whatever you take that in that situation, apply it over here with your kids. And so that's what it's taught me, to be open minded, to understand that my child is human, and she's going to make mistakes. She's going to do things that I'm not going to like, that I'm not going to appreciate. And even in that, I have to say, but you're my baby. I love you. Let's move forward in love and in correction. So it's very much has taught me. One other thing that has taught me is to apologize.
Ooh, that's a tough one, isn't it?
It
It's a
is
tough.
probably, I'm going to say it's in the top 5 of hardest, right?
I'm
Learning
sorry
to,
I was wrong saying that
yes,
to your child. And
yes,
it sounds very the way I'm saying it, it says like I'm saying, oh wow, I'm saying sorry to my child. Like how dare, but it's hard because
it is hard, but lean into that.
we've been
Lean,
taught when we were young that we're supposed to respect our elders and we're supposed to listen to them. And we as elders now are in a different position. It's a different era. We're here to listen to what they have to say, and we do make mistakes, and having to acknowledge that we've made a mistake, and actually they might be right.
yes.
Ooh,
And sometimes we can be right in the wrong moment, right?
yes,
So an example of that was my I don't repeat myself. When I say it once, I expect action, right?
yeah.
So my daughter, I told her to do something, and now she's on the phone with someone, and I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" So she tells me, and I said, "Okay, get off the phone." And she goes, "But mom, I'm trying to," and I'm like, So in my brain, I'm going, okay, now I'm about to repeat myself. So I say, Kayla, hang up the phone. And she's again trying to tell me, like, but I need to be on this call, blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, like, this is not even like someone in your class. This is a peer at school. You don't need to be. So I looked at her and I said, I've already given you instructions. I expect them to be followed. So she hangs up the phone with the person and I walk away and she's trying to explain. And I'm like, no, there is no explaining. Like, I gave instructions. That's the end. I
Mm.
go to my room and a few minutes later she comes in and she's in tears and she's like, you didn't let me explain. And I wanted to tell you like why I needed to be on that call. And I interrupted her and I said, um, it doesn't matter. I said, and that was the end. And she broke down and I had to catch myself and go, wait a minute, hear her out. And so she's like, "You had hurt my feelings. You had yelled at me because she had interrupted. I was in a meeting. She had interrupted 3 times about the same thing. So the last time I was like, Kayla, what? Like I didn't understand why she, and it's something so simple that she could have self-managed, right? And so I'm just like, I don't understand. So I'm fussing. And well, I didn't fuss at that time. When I said, Kayla, what? She was like, never mind. So now I'm like, no, you've interrupted me. Now I'm already interrupted. You've thrown me off. Go
Kia.
ahead and say it.
Mm.
So she's interrupted me for the third or fourth time, and I'm like, what? And so she's like, oh, never mind, because she doesn't like my tone, right? And so I'm like, no, you have to tell me now because you've interrupted me. I need now for you to just share what it is so that we can handle it, and you don't have to come back in here while I'm on this important meeting. And um, she's like, never mind, because teenagers get offended and they're like, I don't want to talk about it. And so now that I'm off the meeting, I go in there and I'm like, hang up the phone with whoever you're talking to. Right. So she comes in and she's like, the reason why I was talking to them is because they were making me feel better after you made me feel so bad. You yelled at me. I thought I was in trouble. I didn't understand. And I'm like, well, you were in trouble because you're interrupting me. I don't understand what the call is. The call is very important for me. And I have my door shut right to the office. So I'm like, so that I'm in a space where whatever it is, you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And he says, well, I was trying to figure it out, but after you yelled, I just figured, I'll be fine. I said, but you were fine before I yelled, right? So this
Yeah.
is the interaction that we're having. And she sits and she's standing in my room and she's like she's breaking down. And I had to catch myself and go, wait a minute, hear her out. Like, I get it. I'm angry. I'm irritated. It was a very important call. It was something that was very difficult to deal with in the first place. And so now, like, I'm like, in my mind, you're not being sensitive to
Mhm.
what the person I'm talking to is going through. And I'm going through something trying to help them. Like, we're like, it's a high emotional situation. My door is closed. You're violating the boundary that is set when that door is closed.
Mm.
And she's going, and then you came in my room and you did the same thing to me. You violated the
Ah.
boundary. You made me get off, and I'm because I'm in the authoritative mindset. I don't care, right?
Mm.
But as I catch myself, she's like, "But mom, this is how it made me feel." I cannot tell her she can't feel that way. So I
Yeah.
had to say, you know what? I'm sorry. I was angry. I took it out on you. I yelled.
Mm.
I am sorry. I am owning my stuff
Mm.
because I was very harsh in my communication. I presumed it was something, so I judged the situation and I didn't listen to you when you needed me to. I'm sorry.
And by doing that, you're leading by example.
Leading
It's
by
beautiful.
example, but then she sat down, right? When she
Mm.
sat down, I knew that she had received my communication, but she's still crying, she's still upset, and she's explaining it to me. And her voice is high pitched because she's emotional, right?
Yeah.
There was a part of me that was like, you're yelling. No, she's not yelling. When we're emotional, our voices rise. Like, that is, whether it's from trying to hold back tears or maybe it's from anger, it
Mm.
doesn't matter. She gets to have her feelings.
Yeah.
And
And
so
she's
I'm like,
allowed them. She's allowed to have them as well. And
yes. And so I just said, I'm sorry for how I handled that. And it is my interactions, my observations with teens and their parents that allowed me to have that moment. That those interactions taught me sometimes you have to shut up and
yeah,
just say you're sorry.
yeah,
It can be hard, but it's something you still have to do.
absolutely. And how did she feel afterwards? After you apologized to her,
When
like
she
a
calmed
real
down,
apology? Because the way you said it at the end was a real apology, not just "oh, I'm sorry," but like "I'm really sorry, I hurt your feeling." How did that make
I'm glad you
her?
said that because a lot of times we go, sorry. Okay, well, fine. All right, fine. I'm sorry.
That's
When
it.
our kids know that that is crap,
Yes, and so do we.
and
And so
so
do
do
we.
we.
Yeah,
And so just when you own it, when you say all the things that that I recognized in the moment, right? That I was too harsh. I judged the situation. I didn't listen. All those things. She gets to go, okay, and like she's de-escalating inside of herself. That's not something that I can help her do, right? That
yeah,
is an internal thing that
yeah,
is not influenced by me in a positive way. It can
yeah,
be influenced by me in a negative way where it rises to another level, but she has to de-escalate on her own. I had to allow for that. And when she sat down on the bed after my apology, I knew that we were going to we're having a breakthrough moment, right?
yeah.
So when she takes that deep breath and she lets it out, that's a signal, parents.
Mm.
They're releasing that anger, they're releasing the
Stress.
anxiety, they're
Yeah,
releasing the stress, right? And so we get to just see that cue, and then we can go just a little. I've learned drop my voice a little bit so that she can feel like she's not having a combative moment,
yeah,
right? Now, a lot of people will go, we're the parents, that's not okay. Exactly, we're the parents, and that's why we have to do it. We have to lead it by example.
yeah.
We're the parents, so we have to be the first to de-escalate.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be the first to bring it back to normal. We have to be the first to bring it to a level of love and understanding because they don't know how to get there first.
That they're learning, and
Right.
they're learning through how you're going to behave and how you're going to respond through
Yes. And when you know
every
you're getting it
situation.
wrong, when
Hmm.
they go, fine, and they shut down, you did something wrong. You got to go back to the steps.
Yeah,
Go back to the apology. When
that's
they
it.
shut down, when they go and they close off, go back to the apology.
Yeah,
Right? A lot of parents have an issue with that because, oh my goodness, if I'm apologizing all the time, don't look at it that way. Look at it as a relationship, not between parent and child, but between person and person,
human, exactly.
human to
That's it.
human.
Because they're learning like you once learned, and
Yes.
think back, put yourself in the shoes of the little human you once were, and
Yes.
what
And if
would
we're
you have liked?
honest, we're still learning.
Yeah,
We're
we're
still
still
learning.
learning. Absolutely,
We're
we're
still
still.
learning.
Yeah,
Like having communication with my fiance, I'm just like, okay, hun. So just so you know, like this is how I'm feeling today. I like because I'm in menopause, so I'm like I can't even explain why I'm feeling this today. Like, and that's a whole nother
yep.
topic is parenting with menopause, right?
Yep.
But I'm in a totally different space, and I want to communicate it with you because I'm irritated. I don't have a lot in me for noise and extra conversation today. This is conversations that I have to have with my fiance. I absolutely have to have it with my teenager
Yeah.
because while I'm feeling this way, she having her own feelings of, Mom, I don't know what's going on, right? But she can't say
Puberty,
that,
the new
right?
hormones, right? She's going
Listen,
through something herself,
and if I
probably.
don't say, so this is what I'm feeling, and I can't do the noise, I can't do extra conversation. If I don't say that to her and to him, right? Because again, we're talking about relationships,
Yeah,
not authoritative dynamics.
that's it.
Um, if I don't communicate it, then they're kind of stuck, just thinking that I'm being mean or anything like that. But if they know ahead of time, forewarned is forearmed. As parents, that is a tool.
Yeah,
That is a
absolutely.
tool. I have 30% today. Like that's all I have right now is 30%.
And they'll
How many times?
understand. Most of the time, they'll be really receptive to
Yes.
your feeling and say, okay, mommy only has 30%. Okay, what does that mean, mommy? They can, if you teach them to ask the questions afterwards, what does that mean? What can I do and what can I
Yes.
not do? Well, you establish that and your boundaries with the kids, and the kid can do the same thing. And it's just going to translate in their future life, in their adult life, and wherever they go after that.
Yes. And as
So,
parents, I think, you know, one of the things that brings us back to joy with our children is making sure that everyone is clear. We have clarity on all the moving parts,
mm,
right? Taking the time to tell our teenagers, like, hey, I know for you, it's just mom showing up to the game. Like, you
mhm,
just want me to show up, right? For me, it's not just showing up. For me, it's making sure dinner is ready ahead of time because you're starving afterwards.
mhm.
And we don't want to stop for fast food. Like, we're making a commitment to eating healthy.
Yeah,
For me, it's also making sure that your younger brother and sister or older brother and sister have what they need. It's also making sure that I leave work on time. So I have to make sure I clear this with my boss so that I can get to your game. It's
yeah,
also making sure that I leave in time with traffic, depending because we're in LA, so like everything takes an hour
yeah.
or more. And so, like, it's also making sure that once we get home, that everything is set and that you have all that you need, so that once you get in, you can take your shower, have dinner, and then we can talk or whatever. Like, it's a million pieces for me as mom.
Yeah.
That's not the same for you. But
No,
if we never communicate that, our kids just see us showing up
that's it. But they don't
or
know
not showing
everything that
up.
comes with it, all the responsibilities. They can see a part of it, but they don't
Right.
know the extent of
Right. So
what
if
you're
I
going
if I leave early, that means I might have to get to work early so that
through.
I can leave early, or that means that I have to figure out how to spread out and make up that time,
Yeah.
because that's also finances, right? If we're leaving work early, that means that if you're an hourly employee, that means that whatever you make hourly now it's cut, which can impact the light bill, you know what I mean? If we
That's
never
it.
say that, our kids never understand the gravity of what they're asking. And I don't think that they should be burdened by it, but they should be aware of it, because it's like, okay, I have to make all these pieces move to come, and I'm happy to do so. Make
Mm,
sure they're clear about that. I am happy to do so. It's just that I need to figure out how to make it happen.
mhm. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have two last things to before we end the show. The first
Okay,
one
I'll
would
try to
be
keep them
if you
short.
had two or three advice you'd like to give to the listeners about parenting in just very short words. What would it be? Like,
You want a
what would
single
those
word?
actions be when they're going through something tough to really connect with their teenager?
You want it in one word?
Oh no, well, short sentences, or what are the three things that you feel that are the most important if parents want to connect with their teenagers when they're having a bit of a whiplash, an up
Okay.
and down moment?
Um, so three pieces of advice. All right. So the first thing is, don't speak when you're angry, right?
Mm,
Um, be mindful of how you communicate. Like, if you got to take that break, take some deep breaths, do that. I know that that's kind of like, oh my God, this is so after school special, but yes, you have to do it. Listen without the lecture. Everything cannot be fixed by you. uh, I used to have this thing where the parents, I would say something to the kids and they get it, and the parents would go, "Oh my goodness, like I've been saying that for years." And the kids are just kind of, it's like I'm the cool auntie, right? I'm the cool auntie that says it the one time and they get it. And it's because it never comes with the lecture.
okay.
And so if you listen without the lecture, and sometimes you have to say, do you want me to just listen, or do you want me to give you advice on this? Like, sometimes you have to do that. The next thing is to connect with them before you correct them, right? Like, that's a big one that I talk to parents about. Don't come at them sideways with rules and expectations. And, like, if this relationship is already rocky, you got to build that bond first. And you got to be intentional about having fun together,
Yes.
sharing a hobby, right? I bought this puzzle. I hate that I bought it, but she wanted the puzzle, and it's like a million pieces. Oh my God. Well, 750, but that's still a lot. I can't sit there and put all that together. What I'm good at is organizing the pieces because I can check out while I do it, right? So I can organize the pieces so that she can build and she knows where everything is. 750 pieces. I can do that. I can build that together. But if we connect on something as simple as coloring or building a puzzle, as singing songs right now, we are very much into country music on our drives, home, from school to school. It doesn't matter. We are very much like there. She created her own country playlist to add to mine. I love hers more than I love mine, right?
They have such good
But
taste in music, those kids, honestly.
right. But some of her music I don't get. Right. So the country music we can do together because some of the music I absolutely do not get. And it is very much like, what did they like? I don't like, she was like, boom, bop, boop. And I was like, what is
Oh,
happening?
yes.
But but if it's a ballad, I can get it. I can understand it. I can hear it. And so, like, the relationship is foundation. Everything else is just drywall,
That's
right?
it. They'll remember
So,
those moments.
yes. So correction sticks better when it's delivered through connection. And that is my third piece of advice.
Thank you so, so much, Kiana,
Thank you.
for all the knowledge, but for your time, because I know you have a very busy schedule.
Thank you so much.
So I know this is going to help a lot of parents. I've been having conversations with various parents here and there, and it's going to help them, and it's going to help other parents around the world. So I really, really want to thank you for, well, clearing up some of those questions and helping those parents probably find more peace and a better relationship with their kids.
Yes, thank you.
So, Kiana, before we go, I really want you to let the listeners know where they can find you, what your website, your pages, and all that. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Okay, so if you're just looking to connect with me, Coach Kiana Shaw on Instagram, Kiana R. Shaw on Facebook. Um, if you're looking for the website, which is usually it's more focused on our personal and professional development, it's kianashaw.enterprises.
Okay.
And just a quick Google search, you can find me.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you for all the knowledge that you've shared with us and your
Thank you.
experience. It is a fountain of knowledge.
It's
And
been an honor.
yeah, and I know it's going to help other women out there. I've had some conversations that were similar to what we've had, but all the knowledge you've brought, I know is going to help those people and other people around the world. So
Absolutely.
to all you beautiful ladies out there, I hope you can take all of this knowledge and apply some to your own current experience.
Yes.
This is it for us for today. Tune in every week on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to get involved with the Be Guided, Be Inspired community and you want to share what kind of impact you've had on others because of your experience, or you're currently living a tough situation, come and meet us on the platform at www.beguidedbeinspired.com. Write us and we'll connect together. Thank you for listening. Keep sparkling, you beautiful women. See you next time. Lots of love. Bye.
Bye.